What's up guys, my name is Cobra and today I'll be giving you a comprehensive guide to playing Zarya.
Огонь по готовности!
So who am I and why should you trust me? So I'm rank 95 for score for Zarya. I used to be 56, but I kinda play other heroes. So this means I play a shit ton of Zarya, so I think I know what I'm talking about when I play Zarya. And I kinda wanna help other people get into her, and learn what she's about and all the different mechanics around her. So enough for the talking, let me get straight into it. Zarya is a DPS tank that excels at close to mid-range combat. Zarya can be played as a solo tank, but she's best played alongside a Sponge or any hero that basically soaks up a lot of damage. Things like Winston or Roadhog best complements Zarya when she's played. Zarya's main strong suit is her ability to soak up lots of damage while outputting insane amount of damage as well. Zarya has both offensive and defensive capabilities, and her game-changing ultimate makes her one of the highest skill ceiling heroes in the game. Alright, so Zarya's basic attack is her laser gun, as I call it, and it does 70 to 150 DPS depending on the energy charge of her gun. So the laser range also increases with the amount of charge you have in your gun. However, unlike Symmetra and Winston, her laser does require an intense amount of aim to control, and it's not an auto lock-on. So the hit registry can be quite off at some times, so it's important to really constantly adjust your aim to your target, as it really is quite hard to aim sometimes. Alright, so there are a few things to note about Zarya's laser beam, and basically it goes through D.Va's defense mechanism and Genji's reflect. So when you see these targets having these abilities up, you don't have to run away, you can just continue shooting them. So it's a really good counter to these heroes as well. So her right click, however, does not apply to Genji's reflect or D.Va's defense mechanism, and right click is basically a laser beam grenade launcher or the particle cannon, whereby she basically launches a grenade launcher like projectile at opponents for the cost of 25 rounds of her particle gun, and the damage ranges from 37 to 95 DPS per pop depending on the charge of her gun. So as far as I know, it does not increase the splash AoE range, but I could be wrong, I don't think it does, but yeah. So her right click also does self damage, so be careful if you shoot it too close to yourself, and you can actually kill yourself with it. I've done it quite a couple of times, but sometimes if you kill the opponent, it's worth it, So Zarya's second and third ability are her proton barriers, where she gives to both her allies and herself, and it basically absorbs damage and gives them back to Zarya. So these barriers last for 2 seconds and can absorb up to 200 damage during that time frame. However, a very important and interesting mechanic is that if a single damage source or damage instance hits you while you have that shield up and does more than 200 damage, the shield is able to absorb up the whole damage. So for example, a Junkrat tire or D.Va mech explosion or a tracer bomb that's stuck to you or your teammates can totally be nullified with a proton shield, and basically it makes it one of the most powerful defensive abilities in the game. It basically allows you to save you and one of your teammates if you have the shield up to one of these big ultimates. And it's really important and really good if you use it well. You can only gain up to 50 charge of your gun by casting it on yourself and 50 charge on your gun by casting it on your teammates. So it's really important to have another Sponge on your team that takes damage for you to charge up your gun. And this also means that for every 4 damage that you take, you get 1 energy charge. So yeah, it's really important that you cast it on your teammate to get your charges up. Zarya's ultimate is Okompo Gotovnosti. Alright, Graviton Surge. Yeah, so it's a black hole that sucks all the enemy in its AoE towards it for 4 seconds, and it's considered one of the best ultimates for the game, and for good reason. It does a whopping 22 damage per second in the black hole, if you should know that. So, being one of the best ultimates in the game, he also has the third longest charge time in the game behind Zenyatta and Lucio, so you must use it wisely. And assuming if you do nothing and you AFK the whole time, it actually takes 5 minutes to passively charge her ulti. Yeah, wow. So Zarya ultimates makes for very good combos that you can use to easily wipe up the enemy team for a big defense hole against their big push, or a GG push for yourself, where you can cast it and basically wipe the teammates. So there are many uses for the black hole. One of it is to really clear all of the enemy team with big combos such as Hanzo's Dragon, just Farah's Justice, or maybe I don't know, Reinhardt Charge, or yeah, you could use it to basically wipe enemy teams, or you could also use it to zone enemy teams off a control point so they can't actually contest it. However, you need to realize that things such as Reinhardt Charge, Diva's flying ability, as well as Tracer Rewind and Blinks allow them to get out of your black holes. So these heroes aren't very good targets for your black holes. Also, Lucio's Sound Barrier makes a very good counter to Graviton Surge, because you won't have enough damage to burst down the people in the Surge. So a common problem you will face is that you face a Reinhardt shield that basically blocks all the damage that you pretty much do to some people that are in the Graviton Surge. So heroes such as Hanzo Dragon, which goes through the shield, Pharah's Justice, which goes above the shield and traces Pulse Grenade, is it Pulse Bomb? A Pulse Bomb which allows him to go behind the shield, are really good combinations with Zarya's ultimate, which I kind of show you in the video that I comboed with my teammates. And a very, very, very important thing to do is that you need to right click the bottom of the hole to ensure the splash damage hits all the enemy inside of it, as shown in the video, because right clicking directly onto a hero can result in one hero blocking all the splash damage for the enemies behind. For example, a Roadhog, basically right clicking him means that you're only right clicking him because you can't splash it on anything else because he's that big. You also need to constantly recognize the amount of people that you want to have in your Graviton Surge, because sometimes 2-man or 1-man Graviton Surges are enough if you are able to hit it on an enemy DPS hero or support. And a very, very important thing about playing Zarya is that you need to catch a Mercy if there's a Mercy in the game, in your Graviton Surge. You need to make sure you burst her down in your big ultimate, as if you notice in my previous videos or my previous highlights, I basically made sure that the Graviton Surges always hit the Mercy, because a huge resurrection totally nullifies your ulti. So you want to always catch the Mercy. I'll go as far to say that you don't cast your ultimate if you don't see a Mercy, because the Mercy is just gonna easily resurrect everyone in the hole. Alright, so here are some other important things to note about playing Zarya. So one very hard thing about playing Zarya, other than aiming her lasers at fast moving targets, which is really hard, is her shield timings. So normally at Zarya you always want to achieve two things. You want to always have a high energy charge so you can do a lot of damage, and at the same time you want to be constantly protecting your support and teammates from big ultimates. So you need to be constantly aware of when to spam your shield on the tank to increase your energy charge, so that when they're soaking damage, or when to save your shield for support getting focused, because the shield has a substantially long cooldown, about 12-13 seconds I guess, and mistiming it could result in you not having energy or shield to protect against a big ultimate during a push, and you really need to make sure you have it. I can't exactly teach you when to put your shields on, but this really comes with playing enough Zarya and game sense. But I really want to point out one thing, that is when you have to choose between saving your support or saving your tank, usually you want to save your support, because the support can save more people eventually. So you want to prioritize protecting your Lucios, your Zenyatta, maybe not Zenyatta, but your Mercies especially. So yeah. One thing you need to recognize about playing Zarya is that you're not Reinhardt. You just recognize that, hey, I'm not Reinhardt, I'm not Winston, I'm not Roadhog, I'm not those kind of things. I'm Zarya, Ogumpo Gotofnosti. You need to play it like a Zarya, So Zarya is so different in the fact that it's not really a tank, it's a Sea-Doo frontline tank. It's not really a tank. It helps tanks be more tankier. So you want to always be positioned around or behind the tank and shield her, and only frontline when you have a shield up. That's the only time you go up. And you also want to recognize that half your shields, half HP are shields, and shields regen really quickly in this game. So you want to really run out of cover, run in and regen, run in and out of cover constantly to regen your shields. It's really, really important. Also, spam your right clicks. It's really good to charge up your ulti. You splash groups of enemies, and then your ultimates really charges like it's Sunday. We all love Sunday, right? And right clicks are a really good way to finish off people close range that are really hard to aim. Things like Tracers and Genjis who are running all over the walls around you, and you can't seem to get a grip on them. You just want to right click the floor in front of you. Even though you might take damage to yourself, you do insane amount of damage to the opponent. So you might want to try doing that to clear off people within close proximities that you can't finish off, because laser beaming does more damage than your right clicks. but right clicks are easier to land in my opinion in close range, because you just hit the ground. Alright, so when do you want to ever play Zarya? So Zarya destroys Genji, because Genji's one real defense mechanism is that he reflects, and obviously your beam goes through Genji. So if you want to counter an enemy Genji that's doing really well, I think Zarya is one of the better counters to her. Not exactly a counter, but she does really well. Obviously things like Junkrat, Tracer and Divas, where their ultimates are really potent, Zarya's shields counter them very well. Also any choke point heavy maps such as like Hanamura or Route 66 are good maps for you to use Zarya, as your right clicks really destroy people, and as well as, you know, the final checkpoints are the hardest places to push through, so Graviton Surges help make it easier to push these kinds of maps, as well as, you know, hold the push, because the choke points are so tight that Graviton Surges really help like cluster everyone up, since they're already kind of clustered, and Graviton Surges work even better when they're clustered. So yeah, things that you want to watch out for is McCree. First of all, McCree, you can counter McCree, because if he flashbangs you while you're shooter, it don't do anything to you. However, if he does it after your shields are gone, he can burst you down easily with his good old high skill level flashbang combo. Fan the hammer twice, yeah, he can get you down all the way if your shields are not up. However, if your shields are up, McCree gets smashed, so, but you'd have to watch out. And another thing you need to want to watch out for is your Diva defense mechanism eating up your ulti. I have done it a few times where basically I threw my Graviton Surge into his defense mechanism and it didn't pop at all, and we lost the game. Not very fun. Mei is another thing you need to watch out for, because if you don't, she freezes you before you freeze her. But you can counter her as well, but she can get quite annoying when your shields are down and she comes on you. That sounds so wrong, but you know what I mean. She attacks you when your shields are down, and you get frozen, and you get frozen forever. And you can't really kill her because she has Ice Block, but you can shoot out of her ice, if that makes sense. If she's freezing you halfway, you can shoot out of it, so that's a good point. And another thing you might want to watch out for is Tracers. If you're not really good at playing Zarya, it's really hard to land your right click on the Tracer or trace the Tracer with your beam. So you destroy Tracer and she destroys you if you have good aim. So yeah, you might want to watch out for those things. Anyways, these are all the tips I have for Zarya. So Zarya's really a great hero, and I hope you guys appreciate her the way I do, because I play a shit ton of Zarya, and I hope this video helps you in your journey to success of playing her, and hope it also inspire you to play more Zarya, because she's actually a really great hero. I remember not liking her in the beta, but I don't know, something about, I don't know, I just played against a great Zarya and I realized how good she was, I guess. And anyways, I have this epic King of the Hill game I'm playing in the background, so I'm just gonna let you guys watch till the end of it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
You got it. Wow, that was fucking close, holy shit.